Welcome to this video. Here we will explore the teachings of Thich Nhat in his book, No Mud, No Lotus. In this video we will focus on the first chapter of the book, where Thich Nhat shares his insights on the nature of suffering and how we can transform it into something beautiful. I hope that you enjoy this video and that it will help you gain a deeper understanding of the concept of transforming suffering into happiness, as well as provide you with practical tips on how to use it as a means of personal growth and spiritual awakening. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this personal view of No Mud, No Lotus by Thich Nhat Hanh. To begin with, as a young adult, I was always energetic and active, enjoying long hikes and bike rides with friends. But many years ago, my life changed dramatically when I was diagnosed with a chronic illness. Suddenly, I found myself struggling to get out of bed each day, constantly battling fatigue, pain, and brain fog. My once active lifestyle was now a distant memory, and I felt like my body had betrayed me. I spent months feeling angry, frustrated, and depressed. I couldn't understand why this was happening to me, and I felt like I was losing my sense of self. It was during this difficult time that I discovered Thich Nhat Hanh's book, No Mud, No Lotus. As I read about the lotus flower metaphor and the Four Noble Truths, I began to see my suffering in a new light. I realized that my illness was not a punishment or a sign of weakness, but simply a part of my human experience. Through Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings, I learned to approach each moment with self-care, kindness, acceptance, and compassion. I began to let go of my attachment to my old way of life and find peace in the present moment. Today, I am more able to accept my limitations and embrace the opportunities for growth and spiritual development that come with my illness. I still face challenges and setbacks, but I have learned to approach them with a more positive mindset. Thanks to Thich Nhat Hanh's wisdom, I am now able to find moments of joy and peace, even in the midst of my chronic illness. It is my hope that reading this book will help you also to find many moments of joy and peace, even in the midst of whatever chronic illness you may be facing. Chapter 1 of No Mud, No Lotus by Thich Nhat Hanh is a compelling introduction to the transformative power of suffering and its relationship to spiritual growth. In this chapter, the author uses the lotus flower as a metaphor for the human experience, explaining that the lotus grows in the mud at the bottom of a pond, but rises above the surface to blossom into a beautiful and fragrant flower. Thich Nhat Hanh suggests that our suffering and challenges can lead us to a higher state of consciousness and inner peace, just as the lotus flower grows from the mud to become a beautiful symbol of transformation and enlightenment. For individuals with chronic illness like MECFS and long COVID and other chronic illnesses, this perspective can be particularly beneficial. We often experience significant physical, emotional, and mental suffering, and at times struggle to find meaning and purpose in our experience. By learning to see our suffering as a necessary part of our growth and development, we can find a greater sense of peace and acceptance. Thich Nhat Hanh presents a framework for understanding the relationship between suffering and enlightenment through the Four Noble Truths. The first noble truth is the recognition of the suffering. The second noble truth is the identification of the causes of suffering, such as attachment, reactivity, and ignorance. The third noble truth is the possibility of ending suffering by letting go of these causes. The fourth noble truth is the path that leads to the end of suffering, which includes ethical conduct, meditation, and wisdom. By applying the Four Noble Truths to our own lives, those of us with chronic illness can gain insight into the nature of our suffering and how to find relief. For example, we can recognize that our attachment to a certain level of health may be causing us to suffer. And we can work to let go of this attachment and find peace in the present moment. This is something that I've had to do and that I continue doing pretty much every day. For me, this is a lifelong practice. We can also use meditation to cultivate a greater sense of calm and inner stillness, which can help us cope with the challenges of our illness. Meditation is a powerful tool for individuals with chronic illness to cultivate greater inner peace and acceptance. Through regular practice, meditation can help us become more aware of our thoughts and emotions and learn to respond to them in a more positive and compassionate way. One specific mindfulness technique that can be helpful for coping with physical pain or emotional distress is calm abiding, also known as shamatha meditation. Calm abiding involves focusing the mind on a single object, such as the breath coming in and out of the body, or on a few meaningful words like love, forgiveness, or acceptance, and allowing the mind to rest in a state of calm and clarity. When we experience physical pain or emotional distress, our thoughts and emotions can become overwhelming and difficult to manage. By practicing calm abiding, we can learn to quiet the mind and reduce the intensity of our thoughts and emotions. This can help us find greater inner peace and acceptance in the face of our illness. Another mindfulness technique that can be helpful for individuals with chronic illness is loving-kindness meditation. This practice involves cultivating feelings of love, kindness, and compassion towards ourselves and others. When we are struggling with chronic illness, it is easy to become self-critical or feel isolated and alone. Loving-kindness meditation can help us cultivate a greater sense of self-care and self-compassion, and develop a deeper sense of connection with others. To practice loving-kindness meditation, we can begin by sitting comfortably and bringing the mind to someone who we feel gratitude or love towards. We can then repeat a series of phrases such as, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, may I be at peace." We can then extend this practice to include others, such as our loved ones, our healthcare providers, and even those who may have caused us harm in the past. Overall, mindfulness practices such as calm abiding and loving-kindness meditation can be powerful tools for individuals with chronic illness to cultivate greater inner peace and acceptance by learning to respond to our thoughts and emotions with greater kindness and compassion. In this way, we can find a greater sense of connection and meaning in our lives, despite the challenges of our illness. The lotus flower metaphor is a powerful and compelling image that draws the reader in and offers hope for a brighter future. By seeing our unavoidable suffering and hardship as a necessary part of our growth and development, those of us with chronic illness can more effectively find meaning and purpose in our experiences. The nutrients and minerals from the mud nourish the lotus flower, just as our suffering can provide us with the nourishment we need to grow and develop spiritually, such as developing greater wisdom, kindness, compassion, patience, equanimity, and more. Thich Nhat Hanh's writing is clear and accessible, making this book a valuable resource for anyone interested in the intersection of spirituality and personal growth, particularly those living with chronic illness. By connecting the lotus flower metaphor to the Four Noble Truths and providing specific examples of how to apply these concepts to daily life, Thich Nhat Hanh offers a roadmap for individuals with chronic illness to find relief and inner peace. I have applied the Four Noble Truths to my experience with chronic illness by recognizing the first noble truth, the recognition of suffering, by acknowledging that my chronic illness brings suffering into my life. I have been able to accept the reality of my situation and shift my perspective to focus on finding meaning and purpose in my experience. The second noble truth has helped me to let go of my reactivity to my illness. In the past, I would react to my illness with pain, frustration, anger, depression, and anxiety. Now I am more able to practice letting my reactivity be without getting caught up in it. This has given rise to the third truth of seeing reactivity stop. I am no longer as painfully reactive as I used to be, and this has allowed me to cultivate greater inner peace and acceptance. I still have good days and bad days, good months and bad months, etc., but I am getting better at navigating each day with more mindfulness and awareness. The fourth noble truth is the path that leads to the end of suffering, and it includes ethical conduct, meditation, and wisdom. By working with these four noble truths, I am now better at using my experience with chronic illness as a path for growth and development. Through meditation, I have learned through mindfulness techniques like calm abiding that have helped me cope with physical pain and emotional distress. These techniques have allowed me to cultivate greater inner peace and acceptance even in the face of difficult circumstances. Overall, by applying the Four Noble Truths to my experience with chronic illness, I have been able to shift my perspective from one of suffering to one of growth and development. This has allowed me to embrace life even though I have chronic pain and illness, and to continue to cultivate wisdom and compassion in all areas of my life. May this book be a source of inspiration and support on your journey. Thank you for watching.